Should you cut off your single friends when you're in a marriage?
Well, that can be a slippery slope. Um, hmm. If you want, yeah, you can do that if you want to do it. But the question is, how do you feel about the other person cutting off their single friends when when they're in the marriage? So, if you want to go down that slippery slope, you can. But it can be very tricky.
So,
That's all I can tell you.
so you're just turning the question around. Would you want to be the friend that was cut off when the other friend got married? I don't think you should. I don't think you should be required to cut off your single friends' relationships when you're in a marriage. But I think those relationships should have boundaries that you set with them. That those friends understand that you're in a marriage. If they're truly your friend, they will understand that you marriage. So the way our friendship works now is different because we have boundaries with the things that I can participate in and the things that I can't participate in, the time that I can spend with you and the time that I can't spend with you. So, as my friend, I would expect you to meet those boundaries and have some kind of understanding that my role has changed. I'm no longer a girlfriend, I'm a wife. So that means my responsibilities to my husband and my family is going to require a little more of me. So the things that we used to could do, like spend a lot of time together, maybe go out together, take trips together, those things have to change. And if you're truly my friend, then I would think you can make those adjustments and we can continue the friendship. If I'm the friend that's on the other end of that, of course I'm going to make those adjustments. I'm going to be there and let her know, hey, or I'm there for you, him or her, I'm there for you. But my allegiance, I understand your allegiance is to your family and that you need to take care of your family. And I'm never going to call them all the time, interrupt them all the time. I'm going to let them know I'm there, but I'm going to also move back and play my position the way I should as a loyal friend to them. So I think on both ends, each person needs to understand the other person's situation and be able to adjust to those boundaries, but yet still hold on to those friendships. You don't have to give them up, they just have to transition. That's how I think.
Or, I mean, people do that all the time. And, the question is always going to be is how far the spouse is going to know where the boundaries are. And as long as you're fine with the boundaries you set, making sure that you know you're fine with the other person having single friends and they have those boundaries. Make sure you can handle the boundaries or handle what you think the boundaries may be.
So
That's all I'm saying.
so the question is, you think that the spouse, say in this case the husband, shouldn't I'm trying to figure out why should your spouse um play a role in that friendship, as long as that friendship isn't infringing on your marriage and what you do in that marriage. Why should your spouse even, you know um be concerned with that friendship? You know what I'm saying? If it's not interfering in your marriage, why should your partner be concerned with that friendship at all?
Because most people are going to say you never know what the other person's motive is. But like I say, if that's how a lot of marriages are ran these days.
So literally, you would request that your wife give up her friends, her single friends?
Most men would. I mean, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, and I'm not gonna be one to run around telling you who to stop talking to and who not to stop talking to. That's on you. But it's always is, and that's just how it is.
And,
Because
and
go ahead.
I can agree with you. I can understand your view on there because there are some people who place their friends higher than they mate. But I would hope that, me personally, I'm going to choose a mate, and that mate is going to be my best friend.
Hmm.
But I will still have women in my life that I call friends and a select few guys that I call friends. but there will be no one that comes before my husband. No one comes before them. And if my husband was to ask me to give up those relationships, yes, I would give up those relationships. But I would do everything within my power to secure and set those boundaries where my husband never ever feels threatened or question those relationships. And if he questions any of those relationships and asks me to give them up, then I would give them up for him. But I believe that I'm the type of woman that my husband would never be in that way, because he would know that he's a priority in my life. Mm-hmm. And everything else is secondary. But I do understand in those rare occasions, not in rare, a lot of times the friends overstep their boundaries and the husband finds himself, or the wife finds herself, trying to find out where she fits in those relationships, like those men who may be in clubs, or those men who are used to they footballing at this person's house this weekend, and next weekend it's the other partner house and another partner. Now that you're married, do he come out of the rotation, or is he expected to stay in the rotation, and his wife just needs to understand? So I get what you're saying, and it can be slippery under some of those circumstances. Me, myself, personally, the way I would handle that is, if that's a routine that my husband has and he falls into that rotation, I would be the woman to cook whatever they need for the outing, the cookout, or whatever, and then I would kind of just excuse myself and go do some lady things and still let him have that part of what he's used to doing, respectfully. Long as there are boundaries set. They're not bringing any women. They're not trying to introduce him and take him out to do anything. I don't see why some activities need to stop just because you got married. You have to find where your role is in that, and then assist and kind of be secure in that. So my role would be, hey, baby, I'm going to prepare some things for your weekend game party this weekend, and then I'm going to go over and visit mom, or I'm going to go and do something, I think that's the way that you approach that, and you trust your partner. That's a part of choosing the right mate, is that you trust them to make decisions that cover you both.
I mean, I'm trying to follow you on that. I mean, you saying make decisions that cover you both, like, and then you're gonna go and spend time with your mom or whoever, your other friends. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
I said, when there are certain occasions when men, when they were single, mm-hmm. they would have game day at different friends' house. Like today mm-hmm. might be John's day, today is Mike's day, today may be my husband's Sunday for mm-hmm. the game party. Mm-hmm. Should he be excluded from that now because he's married? I would say, as his wife, no.
That's a difference, though.
I would say I would find out what my role with that, and I would say, hey, baby, I'm going to fix the things y'all like to eat. Mm-hmm. And while you're having your game day, I'm going to excuse myself and go visit mom or go by one of my girlfriend's house, so that he can continue to have that part of what he was doing with his friendship. Mm-hmm. Some women would say, no, you're married now. Mm-hmm. You don't need to do game day at this house. Because that means I got to clean up. I got to do this when your friends come over. They don't want that. So it stops because we're married now. And your friends need to understand that you have a wife and you can't do that. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you get to hanging around a lot of single people. You got to be, it's a lot of temptations out there. And you got to be very careful with that. And I would say it's how much you hang around them and what you're doing while you're hanging around them. But you got to be careful with hanging around single friends and having single friends. Because, temptations is a beast, especially as the marriage go on. Especially as the monotony set in. Then that's when you start, thinking the way you're not supposed to be thinking. And that's how you're going to get yourself,
that's why I said it is up to the man to then make the decision, to make the best decisions for the marriage. Meaning, I'm trusting him not to do something that would harm our marriage, our relationship. And if he's trusting me, I shouldn't do anything that dishonors him in mm-hmm. our relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.